Look at the quarterback on the other side of the field, Joe Flacco. You've gotten 11 takeaways in 3 games. That's going to stop against Joe Flacco and a Browns offense that's been fairly underwhelming when they don't play Jacksonville. And then you look on the defensive side of the ball since week 9, and I know a lot of people aren't going to really understand this. EPA per play is one of these fancy new analytic metrics.
Environmental Protection Agency.
Exactly.
Yeah, EPA.
Expected points added per play. Basically just says for every snap, how many points is your opponent getting when you're on defense. The Bears rank 6th in the NFL in that metric since week 9.
Right.
Which just goes with the eye test of you picked up Montez Sweat and you're making life hell.
And hopefully he's playing.
Defenses.
Yeah, and he's playing more than 60% of the plays, we hope.
Right. I mean, you think about the Lions game, if he's just on the field at the end of it, you probably win the game.
Well, yeah, you don't know. The problem is philosophically, you decide to play a soft defense. I think philosophically, you've got to tell yourself now, we can't play soft defense. We've got to get after it. We got to maintain our aggressiveness. And you saw it kill Miami yesterday. That first touchdown was scored way too easy.
Right.
Way too easy. And they were hitting the ball in the flat, and they were getting 12, 14 yards, a crack. You can't allow them to move 3 plays, 36 yards. You're gone. Then they hit, on the second possession, they hit DeAndre Hopkins across the field, and he gains 40 yards. Well, I mean, what do you expect to happen here, guys? When you're allowing 40-yard chunks and you allow 3 plays and 36 yards, what do you think's going to happen to you? They're going to get close to the end zone, and Will Levis, of all people in the history of the world, Will Levis is going to be the guy that beats you.
Well, it was the same thing for the Bears. Well, 3 weeks ago in Detroit, you're playing soft. You got Jalen Johnson out wide and just get burnt by Jamison Williams for a deep ball touchdown that kind of changed the momentum of the game.
Yes.
But Yerk, doesn't it feel...
they scored too quick.
Right.
They scored too quick.
You let it happen too fast. But doesn't it feel like that's a conversation that's been had with Eberflus? Because
I think it's a conversation he had with himself in the mirror.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Which is fine if that's what's going to work. Yeah. Watching on Sunday, they had an unpredictable front. Yeah. Guys were moving around. Pressure was coming from different places. Sure, they're still sitting in a cover 2, but they're developing pressure packages out of it.
Yeah, let me offer this to you, too. They did not play perfect defensively in that game. Yeah, they only gave up 13 points. There are a couple of times that 91 is a little bit out of control, and he's got to slow himself down a little bit. They did a slant in the line, and a guy got double scooped. There were times when they could have done better themselves. They did some things that were very fixable. That they will then put themselves in a better position to make plays. But those mistakes were made by the Chicago Bears. And the Bears can then go fix those mistakes and prevent some of those big runs that they gave up the other day. Now, hopefully they look at it, they realize it. I like to play. I think Pickens is getting better. I think Gervin Dexter is getting better. I think players are getting better across the line. I saw Billingsley a little bit in there. The rotation's a little bit, more guys are getting a chance to play a little bit more in the middle. And Jones came back in fresh as a daisy because I don't think he was utilized that much. And they brought him in at the end, and he got a sack and a half.
And Sweat's just been such a difference maker that allows you to bring pressure from different areas. I think that's allowing some of the younger guys to develop better. I don't want to get too in the weeds with the numbers and the things that he's done. But
that's because we confuse people with too many numbers.
I'm not going to go that
I call
route.
Carmen the accountant all the time because he starts firing numbers at me. I'm like, my God.
Sometimes I'm listening. I feel like Carmen's spitting a receipt at me.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do
every
with
blue
all
moon?
of this?
I got to have a tab machine in front of me. I got to be punching all the numbers in
you gotta have
so
a
I can
calculator.
compute them properly.
Get the abacus out, Jurko. Let's start moving pieces.
What frustrates the defense and what frustrates the defensive line the most? You get after the quarterback, you got him corralled, you got him pinned, he finds a way to get out and he gets first down. And now you're not off the field. So ultimately, the best thing that Justin Fields does is frustrates the living hell out of an opposing defense if he can get away.
When his legs are working, he's a hell of a player.
When he can get away, and he was getting away against Detroit.
Now, part of that, Aiden Hutchinson, he gets a lot of a pump around the league. I think he's wildly overrated.
Right.
When he broke contain against Fields and Fields runs free for a touchdown, you go, okay, the Lions kind of allowed that to happen.
Broke contain. Did you see Roshan's block?
Yes.
Did you see Roshan's block on that play?
Yeah.
Roshan, 215-pound running back, got into your second choice in the first round. He got into him, and what did he do? He sat and took it. Roshan gave it to him. He took it, spun out late, and then he flailed his arms.
Well,
when
he's trying
chasing
to-
it. He flailed his arms like he was making maximum effort.
He's trying to stun inside while the defensive tackle's doing something different. It just
Right.
He's not very good. It created opportunities for Fields.
Right, and if you look at some of his pressure stats, they'll tell you, well, he pressures the quarterback, he gets to the quarterback. That's PFF. Can't always believe them all the time. I just know this. If you look around the league, you can see the guys that are pressuring quarterbacks. You know what they look like.
Yeah, one of
when
them's
they're getting
Montez
in.
Sweat.
Yeah, one of them Sweat. The other one played last night for the Tennessee Titans. The Titans were getting after people.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans were getting after people. It's a wonder why they're as bad as they are.
Tell you who else, Kayvon Thibodeau, the Giants.
Yeah.
Pressures quarterbacks.
Thibodeau, yeah.
He gets in people's faces.
Oh, yeah.
So the point I'm making overall is I think the Bears, we're seeing the progress. We're seeing them get better defensively, offensively, if you believe it or not. That same EPA thing, the fancy metric, I'm not going to give you all the numbers. I'll just tell you, since week 4, Justin Fields ranks 7th. The only quarterbacks ahead of him, Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Do the players believe? That's what you've got to ask yourself.
And you feel like they do. And I know we have
players
sound
believe?
from TJ Edwards with Black and Abdallah last night. He talked about it. I listen to the station. You listen to the station as much as anyone. It feels like if you just tune in, everybody's talking about how Eberflus is a dead man walking. And I'm going, did they lose the game on Sunday?
Yeah.
We're coming off one of the biggest wins this team has had in a while. And we're all walking in here like we're supposed to put a bullet in Matt Eberflus. I want him to stay.
It was 2 weeks ago on a Monday after the Detroit loss. I believe I came in here and I said that they're both going to stay. And they're both sticking around, Justin Fields and Eberflus. And this was after a loss. And I said they're both going to stay. I go, both of these guys are going to be here. Did they win? 2 games in a row. It was a win against Minnesota. I said they're both staying. And the way they played against Detroit, the way they played against Detroit, then they got the victory against Minnesota, and I said, you know what? No, they're going to keep them. They're playing, and they want to continue to play. I said things are getting better. They're starting to get a little confidence is the key. 4-7 in '96 we were. We won 5 games in a row to make the playoffs, and we needed Morton Anderson to miss like a 38-yarder, and he hit the ground first and he shanked the kick, and we end up going to the playoffs. We beat the Atlanta Falcons. Then we beat Buffalo and Buffalo. We beat Denver and Denver. The next thing you know, we're in the AFC Championship game. How? I don't know. All of a sudden, we won 7 games in a row. We couldn't get out of our own way at times.
Think about the Giants that beat the Patriots. What were they?
Yeah, it's confidence. It's confidence. And the only way you build confidence is by doing and by winning. So the more you play, the more you win, the more confident you become. So hopefully this team believes in what Eberflus is doing. And I'm telling you, I could be here. I don't know how they feel in there. You don't know. The players, they've got to be feeling good about themselves. They got to be walking tall, cock of the walk, making things happen.
You
That's
would
what they're
think
doing.
the way that they've played the last
They
few
are
games.
feeling frisky about themselves, and they're planning on going to Cleveland and going ahead and pulling an upset. It's not a big upset, but it'd be an upset nonetheless.
I honestly, Yerk, we can talk about that next. I think they're going to Cleveland and winning. And that's me today. This is part of why I want Eberflus to come back. I think you look at this team and you go preseason, we were all asking for show us progression.
Yes, improvement.
Go from 3 wins to 6 wins. You double the win total. I wanted 7. I said I thought in a perfect world maybe you could get to 10.
I thought 9 was the very reasonable.
Yeah, you'd let a couple slip through your fingers, but you still have a chance to go out and win them. So I just look at this as, why are we kicking this guy out the door and we're going to reset everything that he's building instead of giving him another year to try and finish this off? I want Eberflus to stick around. I think they're going to Cleveland on Sunday and winning. At 1-6, Lions fans might have wanted Dan Campbell fired. But then you finish the year 9-8. You finish the year positive. The Bears are in a position where they can do that. Now, they got to go beat Cleveland. I think that they will. Look at the quarterback on the other side of the field, Joe Flacco. You've gotten 11 takeaways in 3 games. That's going to stop against Joe Flacco and a Browns offense that's been fairly underwhelming when they don't play Jacksonville. By the way, has a horrible pass defense. So if you walk in and you're the team that you have been, you're going to go beat Cleveland.
And
Am I wrong?
Yeah, and I go beat up Myles Garrett with one arm. That's what I want to do. I focus on him and I beat him up, say you got to use 2 arms. That's what I'm going to make you do. We're not going to be soft on you. We're not going to let you operate outside in the comfort zone where you might be able to create some havoc. We're going to attack. We're going to go after you. So I think the Bears.
They don't scare me, Yerk.
Their defense scares me a little bit.
It does, but
okay,
like,
so let's be honest.
Their front is fantastic. Their secondary is fantastic.
When I look at everything, I go, what scares me but Cleveland? The defense. Can the defense, if we no turnovers, I like it. Now we give ourselves a chance with no turnovers. And then if Justin Fields can do what he does, and believe it or not, he does do some dynamic things that has you kind of believing in him a little bit. Most of them are on the ground. Some of them are in the air, though.
That's fine, though. Who cares?
I know, but you have to care at some point. Because if he's doing everything on the ground and he doesn't give you the touchdown pass down the seam, he doesn't give you the touchdown pass to DJ Moore. I think the other one down the seam was to DJ Moore a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then he gave you one to Cole Kmet. You have to have some of that. It can't simply be from the legs. There's got to be something
But I don't
via the
think
pass.
it was.
And I think his most impressive throws last week were the outs that he was throwing to Cole Kmet and the out that he threw to DJ Moore. Those are the most impressive passes for me. Them are the ones I like to see. The most disappointing pass last week, second down when they decided to throw the ball and stay aggressive. He's got a wide open DJ Moore, and he overthrew it. He airmailed him by about 2 yards. That's the most disappointing throw. That's the throw you got to make. That's the one you got to have. Make that throw in that situation, and all of a sudden the whole world sings a different tune.
But I just think it's unfair when people talk about it's all Justin's legs. The throw to Cole Kmet early in the game, crossing to the left side across the field, and Justin delivers a strike over a linebacker. I think it was Anzalone. Ball drops right into Kmet's breadbasket. That's what we want to see. The offsides, sure, that play's tailor-made for you, but you got to throw a dart down the field.
And he did throw a dart.
And what about the out route? I thought it was Darnell Mooney fully covered on the outside, and Justin put it right on the outside shoulder.
To the right side.
Contested, balls in a perfect spot.
Saw the ball come out of his hand. He threw it, and I said, oh, sweet Jesus is what I said. I thought something bad was going to happen.
I did too.
Ball was caught.
But it was perfectly thrown. Maybe not a great decision, but he zipped it in.
He's made a couple of those throws this year where it looked like you thought the ball was going to get intercepted, but he put it in a spot where only his receiver can get it. Those are the throws that you've got to make. And those are the times when he hesitates, when he looks like he's going to go to it and then he stops, that's the point he's got to get to where he believes in himself to throw that little pass.
I just don't get why we see all of this progress. Like, you and I are sitting here talking about stuff. It's getting me excited. I'm excited to watch the Bears on Sunday. I'm excited to see if they can grow and go on the road
and continue to win.
Beat a real team. This is a moment where the Bears can go on the road in a massive spot and prove that they're real. Something they haven't done in a very long time.
Well, they did it against Detroit.
Right, but now you get to now you got
to do it on the road.
Things get a little more interesting.
Now you do it on the road.
Look, Detroit's defense is terrible. Now you go on the road and you go up against one of the most ferocious fronts in the NFL and a team that feels themselves a little bit with Joe Flacco. If you saw him in the locker room, I think you can take the ball away from them. But you have to feast on a defense that lets nobody do that.